Right, well, it's a venerable 3001. So let's see what is in this box. Oh, it's got the side things and the instruction book. I'll make sure we've got a scan of that. I'm sure we have. It's got the factory original microphone. Got the power lead and the bracket. We'll use the standard replacement mic until we actually need to check the deviation with the factory original. So I've got to try and remember that they've included all this rigmarole. You've got to have the countersunk one at the back and the domed one at the front. Well folks, I've just spent the last 20 minutes talking to myself. I've finished the radio and discovered that the memory card in the video mixer here has decided not to actually make contact in some way, and it didn't record. So you've just seen me unboxing it. I'm not going to do it again, but what we are going to do, I'll switch the test set back on and I'll just go through this. It's a working set, and when I came to it, it's doing 3.1 on transmit. I'll switch picture in picture on. And it's now doing a full 4 watts. There's the 5, there's the 4. It was a bit low on frequency, it was 2779080, and I brought that up to 2779125. I've just switched the test set back on. The deviation was 2 kilohertz. Wallow, and it's now at peak of 2.5. We tried the customer's mic and I've adjusted the deviation so it's at its best with the customer's factory original mic. So then we set the meter. So the meter is the back preset for the RF meter. If you can see it for the mic lead, so key that up. There we go. That's set now for the 4. The preset nearer to me is deviation. So it's a matter of, we've done these Maxon chassis plenty of times before for the tune-up sequence. We don't cover the VCO. I was saying in the video that they align these using a pin jig. Let's get that capacitor. So they don't have any wires connected. It plonks onto this jig and everything just happens and they align it. And so you find on most of these that 3 or 4 of the components necessary to do the VCO aren't actually fitted. So you actually have to fit the parts yourself if you need to do the VCO. Now, that's sealed. This radio's not got any sign of any shenanigans. It locks on channel 140 and 20, of course, so we don't need to touch that or worry about adding parts in. One day I will do that, and I know we've got a Maxcom 30E with VCO issues, and that's one where we will have to add the parts in. But I've got so many customer repairs in that I can't really be doing things like that with the limited time we have between that pipe organ work. So the tune-up sequence, we've got transmit, 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 the wax one and the other wax one, and we've got the full 4 watts. I think it went to about 4.2, so we're able to pull that backwards. So on receive, so let's show you on the Synad meter. Well, at the moment we've got S9, so we've got S9, and on this version we can calibrate the S9 with the meter preset, and the meter preset is there. On a lot of Maxon chassis, that preset position would be low power, but erroneously they didn't do low power on this, which they should have done. But anyway, that's S meter. So we've got 100 microvolts for S9. We hadn't done the Squelch, which is something I'll come to. So that's the only bit we hadn't done. So as I came to this radio, it was doing a healthy 0.9 microvolts for 12 decibel cyanide, and it's now doing 0.44. And you could say 0.38. So let's show you that. Probably totally different now. Because the signal generator is not on frequency. So with the signal generator on frequency, we've got 0.39 this time, with the filter position on, and .5 with the filter in the off position. So that helps a little bit with the signal to noise ratio. It's a very, very good receive. So we did the detector, which is that one there. I think we had a slight gain on this set, and then we've done the front end and the IFs. And now we're going to do the Squelch, if it's got one. It's with the preset it doesn't have on this chassis. The preset for the Squelch will be that one there. So that's where we got to. So that was 20 minutes. You've had a resume of that in 4. So I'm going to set the Squelch to full. That's the volume. I'm going to set the Squelch to full. And I'm going to want to have this opening at 100 microvolts, so it's S9 equivalent. So 1, 3, 10, 30, 100. So it hasn't opened. See when it does open, if it ever does. It opens at 1 millivolt, which is far too much. I'm going to adjust the preset so the radio opens up at 100 microvolts. There. So, just to check that we're right, to verify, we'll put the attenuator back to 10 microvolts, 30 microvolts, 100 is opening. That's exactly where I want it to be. Excellent. Now we're going to do the opposite. We're just going to pop the Squelch down to nothing. Park the signal generator at 0.3 microvolts. Turned it to standby. And then we're going to set the Squelch on the radio to that threshold position, and then switch the signal generator back on, and we'll see when it comes in. And it's coming straight away. So it's coming in. The Squelch is opening at 0.55 of a microvolt. It's cutting off at 0.39 of a microvolt. Very sensitive, reasonable hysteresis. So very good. That's going to go around scratchy corner a treat. So this is exceptionally good. I've said that it's the same batch of radios as the Comtron 40F, same chassis. So you will see another one of these. So sorry about that. I don't really want to untune it just to tune it in front of you. You have seen these several times. Dread to think how many times before. So Midland 3001, 1982. That's it. So on the front panel, for those of you who don't realise this, the local DX, when you put in local, it enables the RF gain to work. And when you put it in DX, it's bypassed, so it doesn't work. Now you might have a situation where you particularly want that there, and you can just switch between RF gain where you've set it or not. So you can see why they've done that. PA, we did test that. I've probably still got the speaker on. Testing 1 2, testing 1 2. Wallow. Yeah. And then the filter actually does something on this set. I suppose it's a tone. Probably switches the capacitor in if I bother to look at the circuit diagram. So there you have it. So I will put the lid back on, and then we will do a scratchy corner test where Mr. Chippy can do. So I know you're enjoying the new format where we go out with a 2 camcorders, one of which has got a GPS feature, and we do most of the on-the-air tests at 7:30 in the evening, so we're just in the beginning of February, so it's still dark. So a lot of the time these are going to be in the dark, but we're still going to do them because it still makes it more interesting than me just sat here waffling. There we go. So I'll put that back together. We'll pause the video and I'll pop it on the aerial. Right, let's put it back together. So we'll take the connector from the test instrument and replace it with the aerial on the roof, which is an Antron 99 type. I've said a very large number of times. There we go. And that Antron 99 does not have its optional ground plane kit that would enhance operation. Our tests are done such that anybody can achieve what we do. It's not, we don't do anything elitist here. So when we do the on-the-air test, we will test it with the Midland mic as well, and I'll do that at the end when we go to our base station. So let's have a flick round. One nano, Roger. Usual off-frequency people. It's about 5:30. So they're all having their tea, aren't they? Their mummies have called them in for their tea. So there we are, a nice Midland 3001. One of the things which always kind of surprised me about these, you don't have a transmit light, and yet the 2001 does have a transmit light. And you just think, well, you've gone up in the range and you haven't got it. So I just find that funny. I wish they would do a UK version with this kind of case. You know what, even if there were a couple of £100, people would buy them, but they don't. They do one for the Indian market, don't they? Or is it for the Italian market, or is it for both? But you have to think what's inside. So sorry that the memory card messed up, but I thought no, we'll still put this out there, and then when we do the on-the-air test, that will follow on properly, and you know that that's been serviced, and I've shown you how well it works. So thanks for watching the Midland 3001 from 1982.